gonna visit our zoo. My new zoo. It's actually a huge zoo. So first we need we get our tickets. I know it's pretty laggy since I downloaded some mods. I mean like a lot of mods. Welcome to the Ultratown Metropolitan Zoo, which I'm pretty sure is the name of this really big zoo. This zoo feels like an adventure, because it is an adventure. So, here's our first part of the zoo. There's the Dillo Cafe over here. It used to be a facility to hold animals. And over here we have the reptile house. Over here we have the guest shop. I know a lot of textures are gonna be laggy. What is this? So we're gonna go over here. Very perfect. Let's start off with the reptile house. They're not really that fast. They're not fast at all. Those zookeepers are getting into the way. Oh, this is the reptile house. Pretty much good for reptiles. Why do I look small? There's gonna be a lot of leaks here, like all of this sections of the zoo. But remember, this zoo is enormous. So here we have some reptiles. We have, no, it's not a reptile. We have the painted burrow winged frog. They're found in Australia. And I'm pretty sure they're adorable. Look at them, they have the adorbs. Oh! And over here, over here we have, the answer is nothing here. Over here we have dung beetles. Dung beetles roll poop, and they use this poop. They roll this poop because they use it as food for some weird reason. Dung beetles eat the poop, and dung beetles even dive into the poop. And these are the eastern diamondback rattlesnakes. Pretty common in the U.S. And look, and that shaker is actually, there's not little tiny things in there like maracas. They're actually like layers. Like when it sways, the layers start hitting together, which sounds like shake, which makes this iconic shaking noise. That's a fact about rattlesnakes that everyone should know. And over here, we have eastern blue-tongued lizards. They're found in Australia, and they have a blue tongue. He's over here, just chilling. And we have another one over here. They're pretty much doing their thing. Oh. And over here, we have the boa constrictor. They constrict their here we have the world's smallest crocodilian. They're so tiny and small and precious. They're adorable. They have all the orbs. Let's leave the reptile house because we already saw the reptile house, and the reptile house is already a reptile house. And over here, we have the jungle world. Like this entrance, it's really a big part of the early days of the zoo. The jungle world. It has so many animals. And this time you're gonna see a lot of kimono friends. Over here, we have cassowaries. Other cassowaries. And here's our kimono friend. Let's watch. Maybe I can go through the habitat because I'm invincible. So these guys are just chilling. There's just some cassowaries here. Like cassowaries. Keep looking. Cassowaries. We have this chain link fence because you know cassowaries have a strong kick that can kill a human. So we have to put this high grade fence so we can protect the guests. We discovered another species, the Malayan tapir. You know they look like anteaters or elephants. They're actually related to rhinos. They're herbivores. Tapirs have that tongue so they can snorkel, just like these guys are doing. And also there's a baby tapir, which is basically a watermelon with legs on its face. Oh, so cute. They're so cute. There's a watermelon. Over here, we have another kind of species. Capybaras. They say pretty capybaras. Capybaras are here because we need to protect them out of land. This is the combination. Capybara, capybara. And over here we actually get to see the capybaras. They give them playground so they can go swimming. So they can go swimming. Because of course they're gonna go swimming. Like actually they're gonna go swimming. We're actually serious, they're gonna go swimming. And fun fact, capybaras are the world's largest rodent. These are related to guinea pigs, rats, what else, like hamsters, what else is related? Well, these guys are basically gigantic guinea pigs. Where's that sound coming from? There's no particular snake like this. There's the Brazos monkey. I can basically teleport through each habitat. And over here is the indoor viewing for the capybaras. Because everyone wants to see capybaras in every season. Let me go through the Brazos monkey enclosure. So you can see these monkeys. They're kind of monkeys. They're kind of like monkeys. But they are monkeys. For real. What they have. An orange forehead and a white beard. And some swirly things on their legs. They climb a lot. And over here we have Vasa. And this is the kimono friend. kind of racist towards Baka. And over here, you know what we have? Pretty iconic, don't tell me. It's not a chimpanzee. It's not gonna be one. It's the bonobos. Two species from Africa. That's good. First we have to get through this moat that prevents them from escaping. Over here, we have the bonobos. Doing bonobo things in their complex society. And I see what bonobos do. We walk, walk, and do bonobo things. And also the bears climb. They climb like Star Wars. The graphics are still broken. The graphics are still broken. Also graphics are still broken. And the bows are climbing. And the graphics are broken. And all the graphics are broken. And all the graphics are broken. Let's jump again. We're probably gonna leak too many enclosures. We're probably gonna leak too many Kimono frames. Actually, we're not really leaking enclosures because we are actually leaking enclosures. This used to be a giant anteater habitat, and then it used to be the Tamanduas, and then the Tamanduas died. And over here, we have the gorilla. We have gorillas here. Big chonkers. They're pretty much chonkers of the primate world. And also, they have a Kamano friend attached to them. This is the national Kamano friend. Pretty much Kamano friend tastic. Please don't say Traintastic again. That would give me nostalgia from when it was 6 and watching Chuggington when it was 6. Because when it was 6, I was watching Chuggington. And Chuggington brings back 60 memories that really make myself feel like I don't want to be myself. Because Chuggington is too nostalgic for my own good. And over here we have the gorillas. Maybe I can grow through the glass. Or maybe I should not go through the glass. There's even a baby gorilla. There's an adult gorilla who's just chilling there. Being a gorilla. Open your mouth wide! Then the baby gorilla goes through you. You want from your butt? I think one of the gorillas wanna... He did one inside. Not even gonna touch air. Gorillas are really intelligent. Just like bonobos. And they're also closely related to humans. This is another thing that's true. The gorilla's god side. And they do gorilla things. This is pretty much a big enclosure for gorillas. It used to be home to elephants, but not for gorillas. And over here, we have the Komodo dragon house, full with 2 species, like the Japanese giant salamander, the largest salamanders found in our world. They can grow up to 5 feet long, which is pretty big, because they are huge. They're literally larger than any other salamander species in the world. And also fishermen back in the days, they used to think salamanders were mythical creatures, like Komodo dragons, the largest lizards ever. They're the national animals of Indonesia. And also, they fight. And what monitor lizards can do. Fun fact, Komodo dragons actually have venom. They're one of the only venomous lizards ever. And also Komodo dragons have tiny little teeth and forked tongues. And also another fun fact is that Komodo dragons don't need to breed. The females can already give birth by themselves, which is kind of weird. And over here, we're just gonna move around and not see the fossas because there's already so much stuff here that we didn't ignore. At least there has to be a kimono friend. Like in every enclosure, they have a kimono friend. By the end of this video, you will see why there's gonna be a part 2 of this. So, over here, we're just gonna turn around. Turn. Like for real, we just turn around. Like actually sick, we're gonna turn around. We turn around. And we keep on going. For at least forever. Okay. Here's our next contestant. I mean animal. This gimbal stem. No, I mean the Amur tiger. Here's their kimono friend. Kinda weird. Think about it. They're pretty endangered. This is why you should save tigers. He's over here. Let's just watch him. This tiger thing like walk around and fight other tigers. Fun fact! Tigers are abused in circuses because circuses won't stop having animals. Animals are banned from every single circus. And also, Amur tigers are the largest of the big cats. They're the largest cats ever, growing up to 700 pounds and 11 feet long, which is already pretty big for a cat, for a predatory mammal. Because the only predatory mammal bigger than a tiger is a polar bear. And polar bears are the largest. And over here we have flamingos. Actually, we have two species. We have roseate spoonbills and Chilean flamingos. Two species that are from the same continent. Over here we're gonna meet them in a walkthrough aviary. Let's see them. Over here, these are roseate spoonbills. They are found in many places like Texas, Central America, and South America. And they're named because their beak looks like a spoon. These are basically birds. And flamingos. These are Chilean flamingos. And also we don't have to forget that. Here are the flamingos just chilling. And the flamingos are eating their thing. And fun fact, flamingos can actually fly like most birds. And over here, we have the lake, which is pretty lakeish, if you can think about it. And there's this roseate spoonbill just standing there. And then he flies. Let's go to the other side. Let's go through the stupid door. And also this other stupid door. Is that it for the jungle world? I think we have to leave this section of the zoo because there's already more places to huge zoo. I don't run the zoo, I'm just a visitor. And those staff are just walking around. Here's the kimono front for the papers. Based on the watermelon babies. Because they look like watermelons. And we're gonna see some old friends like the cassowaries. And by the end of this video, you're gonna know why there's gonna have a part 2. Because I'm not gonna tell you, it's a big secret. I swear it's a big secret. What? I'm not opening it. For you. So over here, we have a new section. And over here, we have the global safari circle. Basically animals around the world, mostly Africa, that live here. For 60 seconds. I might expand this in the future. Because I would. The global safari circle. Our first contestant. There's gonna be a lot of contestants. Most of them are from Africa or another place that isn't Africa. So our first contest is from Africa. The African crested porcupine. They have spines. Fun fact, if you touch a porcupine, you know it's very healthy. And fun fact, porcupines are actually rodents, which means they're related to capybaras and beavers and guinea pigs. So they're basically gothic spiky capybaras. They're basically the gothic version of capybaras. And over here we have spotted hyenas. Basically the pack hunters of Africa. Fun fact, hyenas are strong enough to kill a lion. It's pretty crazy because they can do that. Especially weak lions that are so weak that they can't even take it. And the spotted hyenas. Fun fact, hyenas are actually more closely related to cats than dogs. If you watched one of my previous videos, you probably know that hyenas are part of their own family of carnivorous mammals. That was like a few months ago. But this video is teaching you stuff. And over here we have South American species, like the giant anteaters and the 9-banded armadillos. And over here we have the crew. How did we get here? Oh, so we have to climb around this. This is just setting the left to go in the enclosure. New kimono friend unlocked. The giant anteater. We're gonna meet Anti the Anteater right here. If you watched my shorts, you probably know who he is. He's an anteater who loves making shorts. And also he loves science. And also he loves chocolate covered ants, even though anteaters are not supposed to eat chocolate. I know this is a problem for the zookeepers. Since one time a man in Brazil got killed by got brutally killed by an anteater. Do you know why? Because look at those claws. Do you know why they're so aggressive? Because their predators are jaguars. And jaguars are really powerful. So anteaters have these long, sharp claws which they use to scratch their predators. And over here we have armadillos.
No.
Armadillos, unlike other armadillos who go up into a ball to protect themselves, 9-banded armadillos actually don't roll themselves into a ball. And they actually can jump really high. They're a predator easily. Not an animal that comes to eat. Fun fact, anteaters and armadillos are actually closely related. They're part of the family Xenarthra, which also includes sloth. And that's kind of weird because don't look the same, but they're still related. We don't have sloths in this zoo, and you know why? We're probably gonna show it to you, and why there's gonna be a part 2. You know why there's gonna be a part 2, especially if you have a big brain like me. And over here we have something surprising. The African big safari. It's so big that you can't even think how big it is. So let's meet the animals in this safari. So our first species is the black wildebeest. We also have black buck. And over here we have dromedary. No, I mean wild backbreed camel. And over here we have a common ostrich. And over here we have a reticulated giraffe. And there's even a platform where you can see those animals. First I have to introduce you to the anime with the real ones, not the kimono friends. Because the kimono friends are literally based on animals. If you have a brain, you know anything. And also, let's wait for that. We already saw it. And over here is the safari viewing platform. So over here is the black buck. It's just standing near this watering hole. And over here we have the ostriches. Over there, there's a black wildebeest. Wildebeest. There's already so many black bucks roaming. Black bucks are found in India. And over here we have reticulated giraffes. Reticulated giraffes are actually the tallest animal on the planet. I mean like the tallest animal that still exists. Because Brachiosaurus is already extinct. And also how are we gonna bring it back? And also giraffes already have the spot. And over here there's wildebeest. Those cow looking things. And over here they're hiding behind the trees. Over here we have a giraffe eating. Fun fact, giraffes can actually make humming noises at night. If you watched one of my older videos, you probably know that fact, because I said it. And over here we have a wild backtrain camel. Here's a fun fact about camels. Did you know that camels actually don't store the water in their humps? They actually store fat, which means they can survive without food and water. And also Bactrian camels are found in China, which is pretty weird to think about it. Because whenever we think of camels, we don't think of that place. We usually think of places where like camels do exist in, like the Middle East and Africa. And also there's even camels in Kenya. And also there's camels in India. This is all true, I'm not lying. Camels are more widespread than your 6-year-old brain thinks. And over here, we have a secretive zone. That's like Detroit's chimpanzee level secretive. Over here, we have honey badgers. So, as you see, honey badgers are really aggressive towards predators, especially leopards. And also they're named because they steal honey from bees. And also, honey badgers are kind of adorable, especially the babies. Honey badgers are really such blue, but you should not deal with one. And over here we have the Brevis zebra. If you went to Detroit Zoo, you probably saw the zebras. And these are but our zoo has giant elands, which are much larger than their common counterparts. And here we already saw the honey badger. I don't know why I have to keep saying this, but I don't know why I have to keep on saying this. But if you reach it to the end of the video, you're probably gonna know why a part 2 is gonna come out. I'm not gonna say it until I reach the end of the video. Because this zoo is extremely big. It has so many animals. If you see more animals, you're probably gonna wait for it. And over here we have an endangered species that's taken from the wild to be used in circuses. And over here, this is not what we were looking for. This is a different species. I mean, like 2 species that are pretty well known. So over here is the red-crowned crane, and over here we have marabou storks. So marabou storks are from Africa, and they're pretty big. And over here we have red-crowned cranes, which are the largest of all cranes. And fun fact about red-crowned cranes: in Japan, cranes are seen as a symbol of elderness, which is kind of weird to think about it. And also, there's much more animals that the zoo has in the safari section. It's not just one animal. There's already a lot of animals here. And over here, you are probably wondering what these 2 enclosures are. So over here, we have a Katanga lion, which are found in South Africa. Let me run a fact about lions. So adult male lions eat about 50 pounds a day, which is a lot of food. And lions don't need to drink that much water because lions get most of the water they need from the meat they eat, which means meat juice. That's what I learned from a 25 facts about lions video. And over here we have the kimono crane. And over here we have the Sumatran rhinos, one of the rarest species of rhinos. And also Sumatran rhinos are the smallest and most hairy species of rhinos. They used to be widespread throughout Southeast Asia, but now they're only found in parts of Indonesia. These rhinos are pretty small compared to most other rhino species. They're found in jungles. And over here we have an adult male rhino. If you read any of my comics, you know that Rhino Man is probably based on a scholastic newspaper I read in 4th grade. One about Sumatran rhinos and how they're endangered. And also, if you wanted to see more stuff here, and this is not all of the animals. We still have more animals. Like over here, we have to pause so it can go faster. I can always pause and unpause because you can do that in Planet Zoo. And over here we have Himalayan brown bears. A problem with Himalayan brown bears is that they're taken from the wild to be used in circuses, which is already pretty bad for them because it's causing their populations to decrease. So we built a Himalayan brown bear sanctuary over here for these bears to live a natural lifestyle. We gave them some shelter, and also we gave them a lot of space, and also we gave them rocks to climb, which are very natural things. Himalayan brown bears are found in the mountains in India, and also Himalayan brown bears are probably the inspiration for Yetis because sometimes Himalayan brown bears, when they're hunting, they sometimes walk on two legs, which is probably that people mistake them for Yetis, and that's how the myth and that's how the legend was created. So these species are basically real life Yetis. And over here we have the fastest animal ever on land. If you probably know what it is, you probably know what's gonna be in here. The answer is cheetahs. Cheetahs are really speedy and speedy and speedy and speedy and and over here we have the cheetahs. Fun fact, cheetahs are actually not big cats. They're actually one the largest of the small cats. And also cheetahs can run up to 70 miles an hour, which is as fast as a race car, which is extremely fast for any animal on land. But there's animals faster than a cheetah. And right next to the cheetahs we have other animals. Like over here we have African elephants. A big problem with elephants is that they're usually taken from the wild to be in circuses. But this has stopped happening. Fun fact, African elephants actually use their trunk as a snorkel while swimming. But this elephant is not doing that. I think he wants to take a drink. And just like pigs, elephants play in the mud. The reason is that elephants need to keep themselves cool since they don't have sweat. And they live in the very hot deserts of Africa. And now the elephant is doing the swimming thing. So elephants use their trunk as a snorkel while swimming. Because what other way will they use? Of course their trunk helps because their trunk is basically a nose. And also elephants are really and also elephants spend a lot of time in water because it's because elephants migrate hundreds of miles to find water. And right now the lake is deep enough for the elephants to swim in it. And this is probably where the myth of the Mokele Mbembe comes from. The Mokele Mbembe is a dinosaur. It is a dinosaur-like species that's said to live in the Congo rainforest. But sightings of it were probably elephants because elephants stick out their tongues when they're swimming to breathe. So Mokele Mbembe is probably an elephant. There's something else that isn't relate or something else that doesn't have to do with dinosaurs. But a lot of people think that Mokele Mbembe is actually a living dinosaur. But this is highly unlikely. And here's a cheetah. live a lot of space so they can run. That's about the same size as our lion enclosure. And over here we're gonna see two desert species from Africa, which are included in this zoo. First we need to pause so we can move faster, because I'm already moving pretty slow. If we go over this silly little rock, we're gonna get to our destination that we wanted to. Are we stuck? Or we are stuck. So we have to be careful while climbing rock, because or else we will lose our marbles. Over here we have the African painted dog, or just painted dogs. The dogs are named because they have a lot of spots on their body. Here's the evidence. African painted dogs are found in Africa, and they have those big ears. Because many animals that live in hot places have big ears so they can keep themselves cool. It's the same reason why many animals in cold places have small ears. And also, African painted dogs have those spots, of course. And over here, we have a Hamadryas baboon. They're found in Western Africa and parts of the Arabian Peninsula. And they live in large social groups. The male Hamadryas baboon have a lot of hair on them. And also, a fact about baboons is that they don't really spend time in the trees. They're mostly spending time on the ground, but they also spend time in the trees. So baboons are basically ground monkeys if you oversimplify it 60 times. Because oversimplifying things is fun, and oversimplifying is easy to do. Now we have to pause so we can move faster. I know a faster way. Let's just do this. And we go faster. Maybe I might accidentally leak some enclosures. I promise not to leak any enclosures. Actually, I am gonna leak enclosures. Like over here, I'm just leaking something. If we pause, it's gonna go faster. So let's. So here's our new section, the Arctic Circle. Pretty much a circle for Arctic animals, because it is actually shaped like a circle. The Arctic Circle. And over here we have animals from the Arctic. Over here we have polar bears, but they're not out because all they like is the water. But we have those. We have a lot of animals running in this enclosure. I got the inspiration from Detroit Zoo, where there's these birds roaming around. And here's our polar bear. And here's their sign. And so this is the tundra section. And there's a lot of sections in this area. First we need I know a tip on moving faster. Just pause. Especially when it lags. And over here we have a view of these animals. These are actually banded mongooses, which are very similar to meerkats. And they live in large social groups. I don't know why I put them in this enclosure, even though they're from the whole different continent from polar bears. And over here we have a viewing. And over here we have a habitat cover. So every time it rains, you can just stand under there so you don't get wet like a doggo. I'm never leaving that area because that's the reason why there's gonna be a part 2 of this series. And over here we have, we're gonna see this after the polar bears because the polar bears are just underwater. Here's a tip on moving faster. Just toggle pause. Or also you can press the P button because you can. And over here we have the first viewing area for the polar bears. This is pretty much inspired by Detroit Zoo, which has multiple viewing areas for the polar bears. Because it's basically the Arctic ring of life. As you can tell if you've been there. And also this is partially inspired. And also this zoo is partially inspired by Toledo Zoo. Almost all of my zoos are like an amalgamation of Detroit Zoo and Toledo Zoo. Because that's where I get inspiration from. Let's forget about this area until later. Because I know this section is gonna get so many views. Because everyone loves those secret animals that I'm gonna mention later. First we have to get through those tight rock thingies. And also you're gonna probably see Detroit Zoo inspiration. Here's some ASMR. This is just because if you went to Detroit Zoo, you probably are gonna be familiar with this. You go down here through this. The zoo staff called this the Ammonite Trail for some weird reason because it goes in a spiral, just like an ammonite shell. And over here, we know what guests really badly want to see. The polar bear tunnel! And all the polar bears and stuff. First we turn which way? This way. And we will see the polar bear. Up-a-doo, da day. I'm a gibble gabble go. I'm a gibble gabble polar bear. And also a fun fact. Polar bears are the largest carnivorous mammals alive today. I mean the largest carnivorous land mammal. Because the one who holds that title is a blue whale. Which is also the largest animal on Earth. Up-a-doo, da day. I'm a gibble gabble go. I'm a gibble gabble polar bear. Up-a-doo, da day. If you want to see the polar bear, put it down there. If you want to see the polar bear, this is a polar bear. Up-a-doo, da day. I'm a gibble gabble go. I'm a gibble gabble polar bear. Up-a-doo, da day. I'm a gibble gabble go. I'm a gibble gabble. Fun fact, unlike other bears, polar bears are actually extremely good swimmers. They do that so they can have the secret animal that we're gonna see next. If you look at this, if you're smart enough, you're probably gonna know what this secret animal is. I'm gonna tell you when we get there. Because if your brain is stimulated enough, you're probably gonna really badly want to see this animal. Because this animal is really cute and gives me a lot of views. And here's a hint. It's a really good swimmer, at least better than polar bears. And also they have flippers, they slap their belly. You probably know what I'm talking about. And the answer is, I'm not gonna say it until we get to that section of the zoo. You're about to see it. It's the seals. So over here we have a bunch of seals doing seal things. First we get here. There's multiple windows where you can see the seals. So So over here we have a harbor seal, and over here we have a gray seal. That's a harbor seal. These are the two species you can find at the zoo. This is a harbor seal. That's a gray seal. If you want to watch the seals, you can watch the seals. Because I know this is going to bring a lot of viewers into here. And if you can't survive without Kimono Friend, here. And here's the seals. Fun fact, did you know that harbor seals, they can actually hold their breath really long? Which means they squeeze between rocks and nap. They do this to help hide themselves from predators because harbor seals are found in kelp forests. And also they live alongside many predators. And if you want to see the seal pups, you have to go to the land. And over here we have the seal pups with all of the adorbs. Let's unbox. We unbox the seal. And here's a Milla, the harbor seal pupper. He's so adorable. Look at his chunkiness. These things are so adorable. Oh! A goodie. It's a little seal. Look at the little seal. It's a little seal. I'm cute. Look at the seal. Let's read this section. I'm scared of looking the enclosure. So over here, we have the Outback Zone. Basically a section for Australian animals. Like kangaroos. And also I'm going to show you Kimono Friends. If you can't survive without them, then you need a daily dose of them. Because my Kimono friends are going to love this video all because I just showed Kimono Friends. So over here we have the kangaroos, specifically the red kangaroos and the redneck wallabies. Here, Kimono Friends fans. You can't survive without that. And over here, we go inside the gate. Let's meet the kangaroos. We can walk through this enclosure. So over here, we have red kangaroos. The fact about kangaroos is that they actually box. This is a redneck wallaby. Redneck wallabies aren't the smallest kangaroos. The smallest kangaroos are actually the rat kangaroos. And this is a wallaby Zoe. It's so fluffy and adorable. Oh, I want to take it home. It's just doing its voices. Oh, it's a wallaby. Oh, I forgot that. I forgot those boxing kangaroos. Let's see if there's another kangaroo that is boxing. Because these are male kangaroos. He just roared like a kangaroo. Because kangaroos can. And they really can do it. Because of course they can. And for actually they can do it. Because actually they are gonna do it. This is basically a kangarooville. This is basically kangaroo society in this zoo. Where kangaroos rest, sleep, stand up and box and do other things that a kangaroo thing. Like go to this watering hole. Fun fact about kangaroos. Did you know that kangaroos can't move their legs independently? They can't. That means they can't walk backwards. And here's a baby albino wallaby. Look how adorable it is. So cute. It's a small wallaby. I think we're about to get... We're gonna get boxing kangaroos. When do we get boxing kangaroos? And we have other species other than kangaroos. Kangaroos are not the only species in this zoo. There's also other species. Like over here, we have dingoes. So dingoes, a fact about dingoes is that they actually are descendants of domesticated dogs. Like 3,000 years ago, these were dogs from India. And for some weird reason, they found their way on rafts going to Australia. And humans accidentally brought them there about 3,000 years ago. And also, they became the apex predators of the Australian continent. What is that? Oh, no, this zookeeper just cleaned up the enclosure for the dingo. I gave them a lot of enrichment. And also I gave them rocks they could climb so they can feel like they're in Australia. And this is basically Kangarooville. And the glass viewers would love to see a wallaby over here. Because glass viewers don't like going inside enclosures where there's a bunch of kangaroos. This is basically how zoos are like in your dreams. There's so many glass walls, and this is basically the area in this zoo that has the most glass walls. And on this side, we have emus. At the exotic zoo assembly at summer school, they actually brought an emu chick. Emus are the largest birds in Australia. And also they can run pretty fast. Emus are not really the same as ostriches. Like one time, the Australian army had to fight emus because the emus were eating all of these crops. And the emus were causing a lot of problems. So the emus started the war with the humans. For some weird reason, the emus won the war because they were strong enough to survive those bullets. And also many emus have killed soldiers. Which means why you should not start a war with emus. This is why next time you should never start a war with a 6-foot tall bird that would rather kick you than be your friend. And we also have more animals here. Like over here, we're in the Galapagos section. So our first contestant is the Galapagos penguin. Here's some facts about Galapagos penguins. So Galapagos penguins, they're found in the Galapagos Islands in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of South America, which really got really hot. So these penguins have adapted to survive the heat. And also the Galapagos Islands are in both the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere, which means these penguins are found in both hemispheres. And the Galapagos penguins live on tropical beaches with other animals like sea lions and iguanas. And also Galapagos penguins are closely related to African penguins. The sad thing about these guys is that they're endangered due to climate change because it's getting too hot in the Galapagos Islands, and that's killing a lot of penguins. That's something sad about the Galapagos Island penguins. It's really sad to see these penguins almost extinct. It's really sad to see them almost disappear. And also, here's an animal that my brother really likes. He has a YouTube channel. It's the Galapagos giant tortoise. They're found in the Galapagos Island, and they're the largest land animals found there. Galapagos giant tortoises can live up to 200 years, which is longer than both of your grandparents combined, which is really long. I gave them a hard rocky shelter. And do you remember that tip I told you earlier? Pause so that you can move faster. Make it that's a good idea. And over here we have another species, California sea lions. This is a pup. This is a pup. The pups are adorable. Have all the adorbs in the world. If you probably saw earlier in this video, you're probably gonna see the differences between seals and sea lions because a lot of people mix up those animals. Because if you watch one of my previous videos, you probably learned the difference between seals and sea lions. So sea lions have front flippers with no toes, and also they have small ears, unlike ear holes like seals. And also the sea lions have a more upright, and also they move pretty differently. The sea lions can actually walk on land, but seals they just bounce around because they use those big bellies to help them move around. That's sea lion. And if you're a Kemono fan, here's the daily dose. California sea lions are found in North and Central America, stretching from Alaska to Mexico, which is pretty big. So here's the tunnel. So the tunnel is pretty deep. In this tunnel, you can actually see the animals underwater. First, we have to go through this boring section of the tunnel. And on each side, there's a different species. So here's the tunnel. So on this side, you have the Galapagos penguins. There's this tiny little penguin swimming around. And he's over here. If you think he's adorable, like and subscribe to my channel. And on the other side, we have the California sea lions. Sea lions are actually the fastest marine mammals, reaching up to 30 miles an hour in the water, which is actually pretty fast. because sea lions need to catch those fish. And the male sea lions have a different head than the females. Male sea lions have a crested head, but females have a smooth head. And you already saw the Galapagos penguins on land. In the water, seals and sea lions look pretty similar. Well, if you look really closely, you might still see the differences, especially if you have brain cells. And over here, this is where the tunnel keeps on going. And over here, I put some glass so you can see the penguins from the top. And also, it acts as a natural light source. Over here, you can see the sky. And if you keep on going, it would make you bored. So if you keep on going, you will reach to the end of this tunnel and you will get to see more animals in the zoo. If you make it to the end of this video, you're probably gonna know why a part 2 is coming out. And over here we have lemurs. There's about 3 species of lemurs in this enclosure: ring-tailed lemurs, red-ruffed lemurs, and white and black-ruffed lemurs. So your kimono friends can't survive without this. Since I can go through habitats, you can see the lemur. So over here we have red-ruffed lemurs. And over here we have white and black ruffed lemurs. And over here we have ring-tailed lemurs. They all share an enclosure. And also, if you have eyes, you will get to see this hard shelter for them. Like when it gets actually cold, they actually go in there. And over here we have, what's in here? Oh. There's supposed to be gibbons here, but for some weird reason I think they died. I don't think the gibbons are supposed. I think the gibbons are dead right already. And if you go to other parts, you probably reach to the American bison. They're the largest land animals in North America. And those short horns, and they have really woolly fur, which they use to protect themselves during the winter. And over here we have bighorn sheep. The females don't really have big horns, but the males do have big horns. Males use those big horns to fight other males. And also I give them a mountain for them to climb. And over here, this is what you were waiting for. You were probably waiting for this section. The warning, this is under construction section. This is why we're gonna make a part 2. So